Spies.
Thank you, Representative Napey and Education Committee members, for the opportunity to be here today in response to House Bill 1461, the proposed bill to eliminate Common Core here in North Dakota. My name is Erin Spies, and I currently serve as one of the assistant principals over at Liberty Middle School in West Fargo, North Dakota. And just a little background on my school and my district. We are located in the southeast portion of the state. We are a rapidly growing district. We currently, our student population is getting close to about 10,000 students, K through 12 within our district. And on average, we see an influx of 500 new students to our district every year. So that is the current kind of demographics and the world that we live in West Fargo Public Schools. So my testimony today is in response and on behalf of West Fargo Public Schools in opposition of House Bill 1461. One thing that I would like you to know about West Fargo Public Schools is that we truly value collaboration in our district. In a large district, we make specific time for our teachers and our colleagues to engage in collaborative opportunities to help ensure best instructional practices. We have worked hard to engage our staff in professional development opportunities, specifically implementing PLCs or professional learning communities within the last few years in response to the implementation of Common Core standards into our, to further develop our curriculum. PLCs have provided the opportunity for our staff to meet within their interdisciplinary teams, but also as departments to break down and take a look at the Common Core standards and redefine their curriculum that can best meet the needs of our students. Within these opportunities, our staff has created year-at-a-glance documents for every course within the K through 12 system. And currently, we are continuing to work on our assessment policies and procedures through our professional learning communities. So we are working on creating now formative and summative assessments, common assessments within our disciplines, which continue to drive the collaboration and best practices within the classroom. Implementing Common Core standards have provided a lot of benefits to our students and staff. Specifically, it's provided opportunity for our staff to work collaboratively on implementing interdisciplinary units within the classes. It has allowed for specific and direct instruction on 21st century skills. It has allowed for the implementation of project-based learning. It has helped our teachers create appropriate curriculum aligned to the standards, which then has allowed for collaboration and discussions on best instructional practices to help guide teachers in their teaching. It has allowed for collaboration and creation of more formative assessments and has begun our discussions in shifting our grading practices as we're looking at moving towards standard-based grading. It has also allowed for the implementation of MTSS, Multi-Tiered Systems of Support, which is a structured intervention model in our district that supports students in the areas of math, language arts, and then also their personal, social, and emotional learning. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, their implementation of PLCs. PLCs was a big shift of culture in our district, not only for our staff, but also for our students and our parents. And the bottom line is that PLCs allowed time for our staff to fully digest the Common Core standards and make curriculum that tied directly to the standards and helping our students to be more successful in the classroom. When evaluating the upcoming legislation to drop the Common Core standards, West Fargo Public Schools feels that this would be a detrimental decision for our students and staff. Not only have we, as a district, invested hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars, we have worked with our staff specifically to create a culture of learning. So to take that time and to take that work away from them would be detrimental not only to our students and their learning, but to our staff's culture. The adoption and implementation of Common Core, like I said, has cost our district hundreds of hours, thousands of dollars. We have also spent a lot of money creating professional development in response to implementation of Common Core. Through some of our professional development, we've made and are in the process of making the change to standards-based grading. So to pass this bill would take away a lot of hard-earned hours and a lot of work that we've accomplished just within our district. The adoption of Common Core standards has allowed for an improvement in our English and our math scores. And as Graham and Harris note in their 2015 article, Common Core State Standards in Writing, really benefits of Common Core State Standards is that writing and writing instructional practices in schools increase. And that's important among all disciplines within our building for our students. My final thoughts are that as a rapidly growing district with over 500 new students every year, having common standards allows for kids to come into our district and for us to quickly assess where they're at and know what they should have learned at a previous school. And so there is a definite benefit for us with a highly mobile population in having common standards. And again, it would be detrimental to take away something that we've worked so hard on and spent so much time and resources on, not only for our students, but for our staff, as we've worked really hard to create a culture of learning and caring. So, in conclusion, I'm recommending not to pass House Bill 1461. I thank you for your time and your commitment to learning and education in the state of North Dakota.
Right, thank you very much, Erin Spies. Right, committee, questions for Erin?
Are you, with the mobile population that you're seeing coming into West Fargo, those students coming in, do you see carryover from other schools into the classroom in West Fargo that they truly understand some of these standards and have had instruction on these standards?
Mm-hmm. So the interesting part about just our growing district is that we see students coming to us from within our own district, just the north side of the district, from Fargo, from Moorhead, but we also see them coming to us from literally all over the country. And so it's interesting to, when they come to us, we do an assessment with them initially because we want to gauge kind of where they're at in their learning. Like I said in my testimony, we have a tiered system of support in our building. So they come to us and we do assessments as well as looking at their background information, but we do find that sometimes specifically documented in their CUE files can be information that relate back to standards and things that they've been covering in their previous school, but we do start to see alignment depending upon where they're coming from. But it depends upon the student and a little bit in their background and yeah.
Well, this seems to me that you're giving very strong support for the Common Core. You said that it would be very detrimental. What would be the impact? Because we've got people who have given testimony today who are actually opposed to this and want it withdrawn. Your circumstances in West Fargo seem to be very different than some maybe of our smaller school districts. So could you tell us a little bit more about the detriments and what the impact will be if it goes?
Ultimately, I think you want to create an environment in your school where the kids feel valued and supported and that your staff buys into that culture and they believe all the things that you're trying to teach your students, right? And so we worked hard to adopt the standards, give our staff the time and support them in their efforts in aligning and developing curriculum that align with the standards. And to take that away, I think would be really detrimental to our school culture, just when I look at the culture of our staff. The last thing that I'd want to do is send the message to my staff that I don't value all the work that you put into this, because they have a really important part, and they have played a really important part in aligning and creating their curriculum to the standards. And so I think that would be a huge detriment, but also to our students, because we have not necessarily given this enough time And as previous presenters referenced, you know, we're talking about a system change, like organizational change, implementing something new into a system. And anytime we implement something new into a system, we have to make sure we're doing that with fidelity. I'm not sure that we have, as a state, looked at all of the schools and made sure they're implementing these standards with fidelity. Perhaps it'd be a better use of our time and energy to do some research on that. How have all the districts implemented the standards, and how do their curriculum align with it? Because right now we don't know. Right now we know what each of our own schools are doing, but perhaps we need to look at a little bit bigger picture in regards to systems change and the organization of this change, and how is it going for all of our school districts here in the state. And if it's not going well, then what resources do we need to provide to those districts? Because I think to just jump ship right now when we haven't ensured that we've implemented it with fidelity, it's just going to send the message to teachers that this was just another thing that came and went, and that we don't value your time and your efforts and working hard.
Speaking along the lines of implementation, kind of reflecting back on past practice, it sounds like West Fargo's done a really good job of implementing Common Core. As far as accountability is concerned, you know, who are you requiring to implement Common Core within the district? Is it all teachers? Is it core teachers? Is it what are your thoughts on it? You know.
Yep. So we started within our departments, and during our curriculum development and we work specifically with our language arts department and specifically with the math department. And as those two departments really got underway in their work and their progression of aligning their curriculum or redesigning their curriculum to meet the standards, then we slowly worked to connect their work and some of those key element pieces, like with writing and developing writing rubrics and things like that, into the other departments, so that other departments are supporting some of the Common Core standards in what they're doing. But it has been a long process in teaching everyone and educating everyone on what good writing should look like. And so starting with math and language arts, but we're on year 3 now, 2 of PLCs, and that was a big lift to get all of our students and staff and even parents to adjust to two times a month. We have late starts, and that's a lot of change, but consistently providing that time has been so helpful in getting all of our staff educated on the standards and supporting the standards, because before we were just calling teachers for curriculum writing days, and that's very spendy when you have to pay them for a curriculum writing day, and then you have to pay for subs as well. So it's a lot of time and money that's been invested in the process.
If another school district had maybe spent time and money in another direction, maybe they had spent time and money in a more experiential, project-based type model where, okay, you might be thinking a little bit more out of the box in terms of what they're doing in the classroom, maybe flexible, maybe class sizes are smaller, which enables them to do this, and they too have invested a lot of time and money. If those districts were forced to switch now, would we be also sending them the message that we don't value what they have done and we don't value their contributions, and we maybe delegitimize your whole approach to education?
And I appreciate and understand what you're saying, because I think in education we've seen a lot of, here's the new thing, we're all going to hop on board, we need to try this, and then now here comes the new thing and we're responsible for trying this. And so when North Dakota adopted the Common Core standards, it probably did feel that way for a lot of districts who had previously invested a lot of time and effort and money into things that they felt were going well. And now our state is saying, here's the new thing that you're adopting, the new change you need to make. And that's why I really think before we make another big decision about changing what we're doing, are we doing this with fidelity? Can we assure that all of our districts are implementing Common Core standards with fidelity? And then giving ourselves time to effectively measure what we're doing. Because how can we make a decision if we don't know whether it's effective or not, or if it's really been implemented the way it should be or not?
Thank you very much. That's a nice place to finish your testimony, I think. So thank you very much. Right, out of order, roll.